Hello and welcome to this episode of our program Arab Affairs. As usual, we are discussing an important debate. Today we'll be discussing the visit of Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry to Morocco. And Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry was in Morocco in a 24-hour visit that was designed to ease recent wave of tension between Cairo and Rabat. Moroccan King Mohammed VI invited President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, of course, giving the message to the foreign minister to visit the North African country or to visit Rabat as soon as possible, while Shoukry delivered an invitation for King Mohammed VI to visit Cairo to attend the much anticipated economic conference. Morocco's king met with Shoukry and discussed several issues. Of course, the foreign minister also met with his counterpart, and they discussed regional and international issues of mutual concern, particularly some points that we are raising in our episode tonight. What could be a strategic vision for a North African cohesion relation? What could be boosting more the Egyptian North African relations, particularly this area that has not been the focus of much relations in the past period? That is what we are going to discuss today in our episode. Before we start with our discussion, let's first have a quick look on the Arab news that took place during the week and come back for discussion.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi starts his first official visit to the United Arab Emirates on Sunday. The presidency announced that the two-day visit comes within the framework of the deep and brotherly relations between Egypt and the UAE. The visit also comes as an expression of gratitude to the country for its support that it had given to Egypt after the June 30th revolution. Prime Minister Ibrahim Mahlab reiterated the government's obligation to hold a free and fair parliamentary elections. The Supreme Electoral Commission announced regulations for the campaign. Meanwhile, under the rules, the candidate is not allowed to use public places, schools, universities, mosques, and churches in campaigning. The candidate is also obliged to open a bank account to receive donations for the campaign. The Arab League said on Sunday that it would seek to shore up international support for another attempt to obtain a UN resolution on ending Israeli occupation of the Palestinian lands. The decision at a gathering of the Arab foreign ministers in Cairo came after Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas asked them to another chance following the UN Security Council's rejection of his last bid in September. The UN called on Israel to unlock millions of dollars in taxes owed to the Palestinian Authority that were withheld after its decision to join the ICC. A senior UN official told the UN Security Council that the freeze of about $127 million imposed on November 3rd was in violation of the Oslo peace agreement between Israel and the Palestinians. The United States and the European Union have criticized the move in response to the Palestinian application to join the ICC, which could investigate war crime complaints against Israel. Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah has threatened to retaliate against Israel for repeated strikes on Syria. In a televised interview broadcast on Thursday night, Nasrallah said that his movement was well armed and always ready to fight Israel. He noted that Israeli strikes on Syria targeted the whole of the resistance axis, which included Hezbollah, Damascus, and Tehran. UN broker talks on ending armed chaos in Libya continued for a second day in Geneva after a promising start despite being shunned by some groups. The North African nation has been gripped by civil conflict since the overthrow of dictator Muammar Gaddafi in a NATO-backed uprising in 2011, with rival governments and powerful militias battling for control of key cities and the nation's oil wealth. But UN Special Envoy to Libya, Bernardino Leon, warned at the start of the talks on Wednesday that they would be torturous.
Right, welcome back to our discussion, but let me here first quote what the visit of Sameh Shoukry reiterated. It reiterated Egypt's support for Morocco, Egypt's support for all the Arab countries, and its message that Egypt does not interfere in any of the internal affairs of any Arab countries or try even to influence any kind of existing disputes that might affect the interests of the Arab countries. This was the main message of course, the visit of Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry to Morocco. The Moroccan Foreign Minister Salahuddin Mezouar, on his part, denounced what he described as pathetic attempts to strain relations between Egypt and Morocco. That is according to the Foreign Ministry spokesman Badr Abdulati statements, quoting him. He also stressed that his nation supported Egypt since the 30th of June transition and it respects the Egyptian people's will. That is exactly our discussion today, how to boost such relations between Egypt and the African nation, this important North African nation. Of course, we have with us for discussion Ambassador Yahya Negm, expert in the Middle East affairs. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And perhaps I would start with asking you to describe relations between Egypt and Morocco, particularly in the this past 3 decades. If you can speak about them. 3-4 decades.
Well, 3 decades too long time. Well, I think more than any other country, the relation with Morocco was very normal throughout these 3 decades, let's say. In the time of Mubarak, President Mubarak, it was normal. There was no crisis in the relation as far as I remember. After Mubarak, of course, Morocco has a little, after the Arab Spring and revolution in January 2011, I think Morocco has a little bit distance because it's a monarchy regime. We have a king and we don't like much big changes in the regimes in the region. So they took a little bit distance, but they, of course, the Arab Spring also reached there. They had their manifestation. I think it was in 20th of April. They started some manifestations there. The opposition there wanted some changes, some reforms in the regime there. So the king, I believe, took some steps, some measures to accommodate